Funny, because today's Daf, what's the end of
Oh boy, here we go with reception.
I mean, it might sound funny, but we can't even hear him.
He's not in the mountain, so it should work.
I don't know where he is, but he's not where service is.
Liner, you're not holding his antenna right.
Parsos.
Liner. You gotta hold his
Don't
antenna
drive this.
right.
You know how many parsos I drove today? Maybe 300. Hold on.
Yaakov, I don't know
We
which
don't hear
house
you.
you're in,
Yeah.
but they gotta update their
I
internet.
know you don't hear me.
She's probably so busy. I just wanted to say thank you.
But we
Does
do
he
hear
know the
Miriam.
internet passcode in here?
Yaakov,
Serious.
tell Miriam we hear her.
The Apple wants the internet passcode in your in-laws' house.
We hear Miriam
Yaakov,
perfect.
we hear Miriam.
No,
Miriam,
we hear her
you.
loud
They
and
have us.
clear,
Yeah,
by the
picking up
way.
internet.
Maybe she should
Picking
give
up
the
internet.
internet.
It's not them.
Yaakov, maybe stand where Miriam's standing.
Play the broken telephone game of Daf Yomi. See how that works.
I'm going to tell her my deepest
Hold on. You hear me now? You don't hear me now.
Only Miriam.
Now we hear you
Now
well.
It's
I
worth
hear
it
you,
for all
Yaakov.
the jokes just to log on. Forget about the
Right.
dot.
You
It
are
was
in
worth
the
it.
meeting now. You are muted. You are unmuted.
Hold on. Okay, sorry. You think I'd come to the city? I would have normal internet. I guess not.
Depends on what city.
Depends where you are, Tzviakov.
I'm in Borough Park, right smack dab in the middle.
I'm sorry for you.
Yeah.
Yes. Make sure to shower when you leave.
I'm gonna yes. Okay, so yeah, we're on the Mem Dalet. Where are we? Mem.
The top of Mem
What's
Dalet
it?
Amud Aleph.
Right, thank you. Avrami, it's been a while since we saw you.
Yeah, I was catching up. I actually caught up today.
Okay, Baruch Hashem. Okay, so
Thank
we
you,
were.
Mr.
What time?
Mr. Horowitz told me we were holding 2 minutes ago before you got on. That's what I remember. That's what I know.
What time is Mincha? What time is early? How much time we have?
You got a good half hour. A good half hour, sure.
Okay. Fine. So we left off in the bottom of the Amud. I should have gone a few more lines last night before stopping, but okay, it's a whole big sugya. So we left off by saying that in the Amud Aleph yesterday we said that in Eretz Yisrael they do in Eretz Yisrael they do take that lulav and esrog on the first day, and now the Gemara just changed their mind and said no it doesn't. That's the top of the Amud. The two nami loy dacha. For the people in Eretz Yisrael, that's also not doicha Shabbos. Then the Gemara says ve'elakasha hani tarti. But then there's a kasha which we had yesterday in yesterday's daf. The Tana Chada Kol HaMalichin et Lulvein LaHarabais. One said that everybody brings their lulvein to the harabais. The Tana Yidach LeBeis HaKnesses. And the other Brisa says you bring it to the Beis HaKnesses. Right? So it's a stira. One says you do it they brought the lulav to the harabais, and one says you bring the Beis HaKnesses. Umatartinon. And what was the teretz? Kambas man shemek Beis HaMikdash Kayim. One is talking about when there was a Beis Hamikdash, and one is talking about when there's no Beis Hamikdash. Right? When there was a Beis Hamikdash, they brought the lulav and esrog to the Beis Hamikdash. When there was no Beis Hamikdash, they brought it to the shul. But whatever it is, you see that they still took a lulav, and according to both of these prices, they still took lulav and esrog in Yerushalayim. And we're just saying that they don't take in Yerushalayim. So the answer is lo yidiv bisman shebeis hamikdash kaim. They're both talking about when the Beis Hamikdash is around. But like kasha kan b'mikdash kan b'gvulin. It's a different teretz now in the Beis Hamikdash. So there are those that can go that are near the Beis Hamikdash, so they bring it to the Beis Hamikdash. In the gvulin though, they didn't make everybody bring the lulav and esrog to the Beis Hamikdash. If you weren't so close to the Beis Hamikdash, then you just took the lulav and esrog in shul instead of in the Beis Hamikdash. But according to all, once there was a churban, then they no longer took lulav and esrog after on the first day. Fine. So Amalei Abai L'arava. Ma'ishna lulav davdina le'shiva zeichel hamikdash, and ma'ishna Arava d'le'avdina le'shiva zeichel hamikdash. Right. So the sugi that we've been discussing is that Aravos, what we call Hashanah. So we do one day, the seventh day, the Hoshana Rabbah, we do as a heichal to the Beis Hamikdash. Why not a whole 7 days? Why don't we do that same? Well, we're going to see what exactly it is with what they did with the Aravos, but whatever special thing that we do Hoshana Rabbah for Aravos as a heichal to the Mikdash, so why not do it all 7 days? The lulav and esrog is 7 days as a heichal to the Mikdash, so why not the Arava? You can be yaitze with taking the Arava and the lulav. Every day when you take the lulav, there's Aravos in there, so you yaitze that way. So he said back to him, right? Rabbi said back to Rava, the reason why you're picking up, there's nothing recognizable about taking the Arava that's in the lulav. You're taking it there because that's one of the 4 minim that's the part of the 4 minim you're supposed to take. And it says, if you're going to say if you're going to say that, okay, so you take it twice. You take it twice, right? Once you pick it up for the mitzvah of lulav, and once you pick it up for the arava.
So that's saying that that's saying when we walk around with the lulav, when we do it every day, it means nothing. When
we walk around with the lulav every day,
you do Hoshanas every day, right? You walk around once, right?
Correct.
So according to that opinion, that means nothing.
That means nothing out the special Hoshana Rabbah that we did. Meaning we don't take, we do it out Hoshanas for going around with the lulav and esrog as part of the taking lulav and esrog, but we don't take a special bunch like we do on Hoshana Rabbah.
No, but isn't it saying, why don't you do it with the lulav? And the answer is that it means nothing because it has to be done separately.
Correct. And picking it up again is not gonna cut it. Right, exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what it's saying. Now there is a whole shayla in the poskim for those that are cheap, right, and don't want to buy from Shai Novak or whoever it is, right? So why don't you take out the Aravos from your lulav on Hoshana Rabbah, and then you only need 2 more. I'm sorry, 3 more. Right, you only need 3 more. Right, so that's a shayla. The person say lemaisa, you could do it. I don't think anybody does it, but you could. But that's when you're taking it as a separate taking with the kavanah to that. Right. So anyway, so he's asking, but what
do you need a separate kavanah for? If you
need to take Arava separately from the lulav.
Right. So if you use your Aravos from the lulav, you need to change. If you take out when you finish with your lulav.
Good, because you take them out of the lulav.
Right. I'm assuming most people don't do that because they don't sell, like you said, but also because you have to bring it home to your wife to use. So.
Bring one home to your wife to use.
Your lulav, if she uses, I knew you're going to yell at me. If your wife uses,
I just asked you a question. I didn't know what you're talking about.
If your wife uses your lulav after Shachris, I know that's coming in a minute.
Naftali, my wife gets her own lulav and esrog.
So Rav Aaron will yell at you later.
She's example. Naftali, you the Kafetz Chaim Zeiniko. You forgot to tell us?
No. I was gonna say you don't discriminate. Fine. If you feel the person did something wrong, you yell. Now I see you starting to discriminate.
Yes.
Is this line of Gemara the Machlokes Ashkenaz and Sfarad when we do Hashanas? The Magbele, the Hadar Magbele is Ashkenaz, and then the next line of Gemara is V'amaisim b'chol yom that we don't. That's Sfarad.
Okay, I hear. That's a cute word. I hear what you're saying.
I'm asking, is that what it means?
No, I don't think that's what it means. No, it means the Maisim b'chol yom, because really this is a Gemara on Amud Beis. Because the really on Amud Beis, that's the whole Machlokes, whether you have to take it twice or not. And Rav Ami on Amud Beis says that even if you do take it twice, it's meaningless. And Rav Chisda holds that it's not meaningless. You could take it twice and then you're fine. So Abaye is saying that people just don't do it with the lulav. So Mamela, it doesn't work either way. It doesn't work. At least that's the Pashup shot in it. Okay, but let's see. We'll get on the base. It'll maybe get a little clearer. So we don't do that. We don't put down the lulav and pick it back up. Yeah. So lost the place. So So Amar Rav Zir Mishmei the Rabba lulav. So we change the shot. Yeah. Lulav da'iraisa of dinon shiva heichal Hamikdash. So lulav, which is da'iraisa, so we do it for 7 days. The Arava, the Rabbanan lo yavdin ala shiva heichal Hamikdash, because since the Arava is only the Rabbanan, so you don't need to do 7 days. Just 1 day is enough. So the Gemara asks Laman, and again this is a repeat of a Gemara that we had a few blot ago. Laman, ilay melabashol. Who's it going according to that it's only the Rabbanan? It says in the pasuk arvei nachal plural, shtayim, which means two. Achas lulav, achas lemikdash. One is for the lulav and one is for the Beis Hamikdash. And ila rabbanon, hilchas gemirilan. According to Rabbanon, they hold it halacha lemoshe misinai. Amar Rav Asi, Amar Rav Yochanan, Shuram Nechunya Ishbakas, Beis Chorsan. That was the name. Esther Netias, the 10 Netias, which we said is right now it's actually Negeya. A field. There's a called Taisvis Shemitah, where Shemitah really starts from El. All right, but if you have a field that has 10 trees in it, then you're allowed to water it up until Tishrei, because you don't want it to get lost. So that and Arava, and taking the Arava and Yitzchamayim, that's the Simchas Beis Hashoeva that they draw the water on Sukkos. Halacha Lemoshe misinai, they're all Halacha Lemoshe misinai. So either way, according to Abba Shtol, Arava is from the Torah. According to Rav Asi, it's in the name of Yochanan, etc., it's Halacha Lemoshe misinai. So according to neither one of them is it a Rabbanan. So that Torah is not going to work either. So now again, why are we holding that Arava we only take heichal Hamikdash for 1 day and lulav and esrog for 7 days? So Rav Zir Mishmei the Rabba lulav deisli ikr minat Torah. So lulav that has an ikr from the Torah, meaning it's a beferish apostle. It's not beferish, but there's ikr minat Torah b'gvulin, that it has a ikr in the Torah that you're supposed to take it in the gvulin, which we saw in yesterday's daf. So avdin alei shiva heichal Hamikdash. So there, since it's very beferish, so then you do shiva heichal Hamikdash. Arava, the leslie ikr minat Torah, the gvulin, but Arava, where there's no ikr from the Torah with gvulin, which we saw yesterday with that's the tzedukim. Well, that's besides for that. They didn't even, the tzedukim didn't even like it in the Beis Hamikdash. Layavdin and shiva heichal Hamikdash, so they didn't do shiva. Meaning basically, beferish in the Torah. Yeah.
Is Arava halacha lemoshe misinai? What are we saying it is now?
We're saying it's a Machlokes. Either it's a daraisa. Again, we're not talking about the Arava as part of the Daled Minim.
Right.
So taking the Arava.
Right.
It's either Halacha Lemoshe in the Beis Hamikdash. It's either Halacha Lemoshe misinai or a daraisa.
So Halacha Lemoshe is more common than we had that already 50 times, which I never understood. But it's more common than the Raisa. Halacha Lemoshe misinai is special.
Either way,
so it's more common.
It could be Anachanami, but it's certainly more common than a Derabbanan. That's what we're looking for. Is the Gemara said it's a Derabbanan. So the Gemara clearly says it's not a Derabbanan. Right? It's not a Derabbanan. That can't be, which is exactly the Gemara's kasha. So now the Gemara is saying that since whatever had an ikr in the Torah to take in the gulin, so you take the 7 days, which we have lulav. Arava, it's not beferish in the Torah that you take it in the gvulin, not the Beis Hamikdash. Then there's no heichal Hamikdash. Right? Okay, so that's basically the Maskana why we only do the Arava for 1 day a year, 1 day of Sukkah. Fine, so Reish Lakish, a new sugya. I mean, same sugya but a different thing. Kohanim balei mumin nechnasim bein Ulam l'mizbeach. So we had learned that kohanim that have a mum are not allowed to go in between the Ulam and the mizbeach. Right? There's a kedusha there that somebody who has a mum can't go there. So Reish Lakish is saying though, but kohanim balei mumin are allowed to go there. Right? In order to be yaitza taking the Aravos. Meaning, what does that mean? That means that Aravos is so important that it's daicha and isser. So Rabbi Yochanan mi amra. Who said that they can do this? Mi amra. So he says, who said it? Ha'iyu amar. He himself said it. The Amar of Asi, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. Rabbi Yochanan said, "Mishum Nechuni Ishbakas Beis Chorsan Esther Netias Arava B'nitzach Hamayim Halacha Lemoshe misinai." So you see that Arava is Halacha Lemoshe misinai. Halacha Lemoshe misinai is important enough that it should be daicha this isser of the kohanim bali mumin staying in between the ulam and the mizbeach. So that can't be. Ella, what was Rabbi Yochanan's kasha? Mi Amr ben Atila, who says that they took, like we said in yesterday's daf, who said that the mitzvah of Arava was to walk around the mizbeach with the Aravos, in which case the kohanim that are bali mumin can go there. Dilma biskifa. Maybe the way we're supposed to take Aravos is by standing them up on the side of the mizbeach, and then one kohen can do that. You don't need the bali mumin to do that. So mi Amr of a bali mumin. Right, so who said that you can do with the bali mumin? Dilma b'tmimin. Maybe only tmimin do it. So that's what the Gemara is saying. Is that was his question. That was Rabbi Yochanan's question. Is who says that the bali mumin can go there? Maybe there's no reason for them to go there because you just stand up the Aravos on the mizbeach, and that's the way it was done. Okay, so Itmar Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Now we get to a different Machlokes over. Now there's something called minhag and there's something called halacha. So if there's a minhag, if you hold something's a minhag, then you wouldn't make a bracha on it. If you hold it's halacha, then you would make a bracha on it. So the question is,
Yaakov, you forgot to finish it with some people make the minhagim into halachas.
Avada. That's some people make the minhagim into avodah zarah, is what you really meant to say.
Right.
Right. Naftali, you listening on that one? No.
Zulus already became halal.
Ouch.
Naftali, does your
That's
wife
schoolless.
Naftali,
That's schoolless.
Naftali,
Not
Okay.
minhagim. Okay.
so does your wife and Mrs. Stein make brachas on the lulav?
My wife, I believe, makes a bracha on the lulav.
It's
I
only
believe
a
she
minute.
does.
It's only a minute.
Okay. Okay. Listen. So you're going to teach me, and maybe we'll do something
Now
different this
teach me.
year.
My wife also makes a bracha on the lulav,
Oh.
like every other Ashkenaz lady.
Okay.
Why don't we ask him if his wife takes off her ring?
With the
before
rings, she does.
takes the-
She does. You told me that. You told me that a few years ago. Yes, she takes off her rings.
I don't think my wife does.
You told me that she should, so she does.
All right. I guess my wife never asked. Okay. Anyway, so let's see. So there's a weird Machlokes.
Don't worry. After I tell my wife what she says, she calls your wife to find out what really to do.
Yaakov, if you would reply to Miriam's text, she would know what to do.
It's true. That's true. So fine. So Itmar. So we have a Machlokes. When were they miyasid? Why were they miyasid the Aravos? Right. The Niviim did it. So Itmar Rabbi Yochanan Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi. Chadam Arava Yisoid Niviim. It's a Yisoid from Niviim. Right. Meaning they made it into a mitzvah derabanan. In which case you're going to make a bracha on it. V'chanam Arava minhag Niviim. It was only a minhag. If it's a minhag, then you don't make a bracha. That's what Rashi's saying, because you can't say the word vitzivanu. It's not an interesting sugya, right? How do you say Asher Kiddishanu b'mitzvayso vitzivanu? How do you on a derabanan, right? Kiddush tonight is almost always the If you daven Shemona Esrei first, at least, it's the Rabbanon Kiddush. So how do you say vitzivanu? Well, the Rabbanon didn't command us. That tzivanu goes on Hashem. So Hashem commanded us to listen to the Rabbanon. Right? So, but Rashi says you can't do that on a minhag. That you can't do on a minhag. Fine. So that's the Machlokes. So this I'm going to say this time the Rabbi Yochanan who Damar Yisoid Niviim. Let's say it's Rabbi Yochanan who said it that it's a Yisoid Niviim. Damar Rabbi Yochanan Arava Yisoid Niviim who it's a Yisoid of Niviim. So Tisayim says that you'd have to make a bracha on it. Amud Rabbi Zera Rabbi Vom. B'Yom Rabbi Yochanan Achi. B'Amar Rabbi Yochanan Mishum Rabbi Chunya Ish Bakas Beis Chorson Eser Netias Arava V'Nitza Chamayim Halacha Lemoshe misinai. In the daf when you have the same Gemara three times on one daf, that's gishmak, especially when it's on a Friday, right? So the same, so you have this, you see that it's beferish, that it's halacha lomoshe misinai. So how are you saying that it's from the Niviim? So ishtoimim kishochada, which we've had before, that he was like quiet for an hour. That literally means an hour, but he got him. What it means is he got him. And then he said, Shakchum v'chazru v'yastim. It must be that it was halacha lemoshe misinai. Everybody in Bavel forgot the halacha. V'chazru v'yastim. So then the Niviim went and reestablished it. So now it's both. It's both halacha lemoshe misinai and the Niviim did it. Gemara asked, did Rabbi Yochanan really say that they forgot the Torah in Bavel? Rabbi Yochanan dilchon amri dilhonhi. So Rabbi Yochanan was, so Rav Kahana, Rashi goes through the story. Rav Kahana once killed it's a Gemara in Bava Kama. Rav Kahana once killed a Meiser. Yeah? So he was a Talmud of Rav, and he was a big Talmud Chacham, and then since he killed a Meiser, he had to run to Eretz Yisrael. Rav Yochanan was in Eretz Yisrael. So when Rav Kahana came from Bavel, he said, okay, I thought that we're big shots in Eretz Yisrael, that we know everything. And then this fellow comes from Bavel, Rav Kahana, and he sees that the Torah is over there in Bavel. He says, Dilchun Amri Dilhoni. It's really theirs, meaning the people in Bavel have a lot of Torah. So you see that Rav Yochanan holds that the Torah was not forgotten in Bavel. Right? So the Gemara answers, like Kasha, now we're on Tamei Beis. Kan b'mikdash, kan b'gvulin. One is talking Beis Hamikdash, meaning when was it Halacha Lemoshe misinai? That's in the Beis Hamikdash. But b'gvulin, that's what the Niviim did. The Niviim said in the gvulin you have to, which fits with the previous Gemara that we said it. And in the gvulin there's no makor, at least beferish in the Torah. Okay, so now that's the end of that sugya. Now, Omer of Ami, Arava, now the Gemara gets into what the halachas of the Arava are. So Arava tzricha shir. Arava needs to have a minimum measurement, which we'll get to in a few lines. And it has to be taken by itself, meaning you can't take the Aravos together with lulav or whatever you want. Right? And a person is also not yotze with the Arava that's in the lulav. Yeah? Meaning he means that you can't just lift up the lulav. Not like we were saying before, you could take out the Aravos. He's saying you can't just lift up the lulav and say, oh, these are
That's not included in the same thing. So
I was wondering if it's really one long sentence and saying you can't take it b'fnei atzma, and therefore a person can't be yotze. But I'm not sure if that would be the way. And then I was thinking maybe it means you can't tie, if you want to get smart, and tie those Hashanah's cards onto your Aravos. That's what it's telling you not to do. Right? But I'm not so sure that that's what the Gemara means. Right? Okay, that's the way I understood it. That it's like
thing.
That what?
You can't say he's not. The Eilan that tells us Ela b'fnei atzma is l'chatchila. You can't say b'diavad. You're not yotze Arava if you didn't do it.
Or so then why is it changing subject? It should say, and even b'diavad, you're not yotze.
No, because the only way you're not yotze maybe b'diavad is with a lulav. If I took it in a cloth or something, I would be yotze b'diavad. If I did it with my lulav, I'm not going to be yotze for some reason.
I don't know, maybe. I mean, it's worse. It's worse to take it in a lulav.
It's worse because it looks like you're doing a different mitzvah. If you take it in a cloth, it looks like you're doing whatever. But if you take it in a lulav, it looks like you're doing it. It's a completely different mitzvah.
I hear, maybe. I don't know. So anyway, so Gemara asks, even though Mamar, fourth line down, even though Mamar in the tells Ela b'fnei atzma. I'm sorry, that was the Gemara's. But you asking the Gemara's next kasha? Or you asking something else? That's really if that's what you. I thought you okay. You're asking the Gemara's kasha, unless you're asking something else.
I can't answer me any question. I don't have no answers. Okay. I don't know. I just asked something. I don't know.
So I thought you were saying so. Okay, let's see. Since it's not taken only b'fnei atzma, it's pashut, right? What do you have to say that it's not? So maybe that's only where you didn't pick it up and re-pick it up. Like we saw in Amud Aleph, you pick it up and then you go back and pick it up. So maybe not. Kamash Malan, maybe no, and then you would be Yaitza. Kamash Malan, that you're not going to be Yaitza even that way. Right? So it sounds like, I don't know, Gershon, what you're saying with the L'chatchila b'diavad. Okay, whatever, it's late, so we'll see. But anyways, let's see. The bottom line is you're not Yaitza with Arava when it's connected to the lulav, and you can't take the Arava with anything else. Fine. For Rav Chisda, Rav Yitzchak, Adam Yaitza yidei chavaze b'Arava shebelulav. But Rav Chisda, in the name of Yitzchak, says the person is Yaitza with Arava shebelulav. the kama shiura, and how much is the shear? Right, we said it needs to have a shear. Now, Gimel Bade Olin Lachen, it needs to have 3 stalks, three pieces of leaves that are wet, meaning that they have to be fresh. All you need is 1 leaf and 1 branch. The Gemara says, do you really think that 1 leaf on an Arava is enough? No, what it means is even 1 leaf on 1 branch. Right? So okay, so that tells us the leaves. What about the length?
Was that different than what we just said originally?
What?
Well, how did that clarify? How did that clarify anything?
No, because it means we thought it meant either a leaf. I didn't explain it well enough. Either a leaf or a stick. Right? It's not here. Go back 2 lines. Thank you, because I should have explained it better. Even 1 leaf and 1 stick. Gemara says Allah echad ubad echad takadaitach. Rashi says it sounds like there's 2 separate things: 1 leaf and 1 stick. Right? Meaning they don't have to be attached. Just one. I don't know if it means one or the other. Does he mean one or the other, or 1 leaf and 1 stick? That I'm not sure. But whatever it is, that's what the Gemara is saying in the Hava. The Gemara says Elaima filu Allah echad bebad echad. 1 leaf on 1 stick. Now I don't remember. I don't remember. I meant to look into where we get the 5. Where do we get the 5 from? Anybody know offhand where we get the 5? I don't. I mamish don't remember.
The Zohar HaKadosh.
I'm saying there's nothing more than the Zohar?
Nope, nothing.
That's it?
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to try. It's got to be something more than the Zohar. It has to be. But maybe not. I don't know.
Wasn't good enough? The Zohar's not good enough?
The Zohar is very fine. I'm not starting up with the Zohar of Rami, but I'm just saying you would think that all of a sudden this Zohar we were doing, I'm saying. Yeah.
It's
okay,
exceedingly rare that we pass on the halacha like a Zohar HaKadosh.
Right. Yeah. And what's interesting is the people that normally keep the Zohar have a lot more than 5 Aravos. Maybe that they don't want, right? The Rebbes end up with 1 million Aravos. Okay, I don't know. Fine. Amar Aivu said, I was standing in front of Rebbe Tzadok, and a person brought an Arava to him. Shokil, he took it. Chavit, and he Rashi says he did a nanuim with it. He shook it back and forth, but he didn't make a bracha on it. Because Savar, he must have held minhag Niviim, who it's only a minhag, so therefore minhag Niviim, so therefore you don't sell it, you don't make a bracha on it. Which that, by the way, that's also in after Hashanah. So at some point you put down the lulav and esrog and you pick up the bundle of Aravos. Do you shake it then or not? Some say you shake the avravos, some say you don't shake the Aravos. From here it's mashma that you certainly do shake the Aravos. Right? Fine. Ivu v'chizkiya, now because they still brought a story with Ivu.
I mean, it shakes every time you turn the page.
No, we're talking about I'm
saying every time you turn the page in the sitter, it shakes a little.
I hear, but we're talking about like the real deal, right? I don't know. I always do it like, some half-hearted to be yikes to all the sheetas. I shake it a little. I don't know, but I don't know what. Okay,
beginners are yikes.
Fine.
They're turning around with
what?
the scissors. The beginners are yikes to everything. They turn around to see what everyone else is doing, so they get all the directions in too.
Very good. Yeah, fine. So Ivu v'Chizkiya b'nei Barte de Rav. So Ivu and Chizkiya, who were the sons of Rav's daughter, meaning they were grandchildren of Rav, Aisu Arava l'kamei de Rav. So they went and brought Arava to the grandfather. Chavit v'loy baruch. So he waved it also back and forth. He did not know him. Kasavar minhag Niviim, who he also held it. It's a minhag, so therefore there's no bracha. Yeah. So then Amar, well, that's the same story. Then Amar Ivu said, Havakimna Kamei, this is a story that's brought parenthetically. Amar Ivu, Havakimna Kamei to Rebbe Elazar bar Tzadok, Asula Kamei Ahu Gavra, and a person came in Amar Lei, Kriyasa Isli, I own cities, or towns or whatever, small towns. Karmaya Isli, I own vineyards. Zeisaya Isli, I own olive trees. And the people from the cities, from the towns, come and they do work in the ground, and they work in the vineyard. This is talking about for Shemitah. And they eat olives. They eat from the olives as their payment. They take the olives. Meaning, instead of leaving the olives hefker, which we said you're supposed to do with all Shemitah fruits, so what they did is they took it as their payment. So arich oiloi arich. Is this good or this is not good? Right, Rashi says the arich is a lashon of davar hagun, something proper. Is this the proper thing to do, that they should take their payment from olives or not? Amrlei, he said loy arich, not proper, right? Because you're not allowed to benefit from Shemitah like that. So the man was going away. Amar Kadu Havesi Dairi Ba'ara Hada Mem Shonin. He says, I already lived in this town for 40 years. And I never saw, Chamisi means I never saw Bar Inish, a person, that goes in his way of the Tziknan Kedin, that Basak in his ways, meaning that he's a, Rashi says he's Derech Yosher, he's a straight fellow. This guy's the straightest fellow. So Hadav Asi, meaning, and the guy did something wrong. Meaning he came, he said he's got these workers, they're doing work in the vineyard, and they're taking their olives, Shemitah, as payments. He said that's not proper. Then the fellow walked away. Then he came back and he said,
Jacob, sounds like a mafia situation, Lahavno.
Maybe, but he says he was a big tzaddik. So, Amalei my mevid. He said, what should we do? Amalei afker zeisai lachashachaya. What you should do is make your olive trees hefker to poor people, right? And because that's what you're supposed to do. And then the 10 pritai lekashkushe kramen, and then give money, your prutas, your regular pay your regular workers, the vineyard workers, from your own pocket. Fine. So that's what he told him to do. Like, pay him regular. Don't pay him with Shemitah food. The Gemara says, who says it was mutter to do this work on the ground on Shemitah? Vatani, we learned Vashmiyas Tishmatenov and Unetashta. Right? On Shmiyas Tishmatenov, that's the word Shemitah comes from. You leave it, Unetashta, and you give it up. Tishmatenov milakashkish, what we darshan is that you should leave it from working the ground. Unetashta milasakal. And leave it from clearing up the ground to make it be able to be plowed, right? Like take away the rocks. So you see that you're not allowed to do any work on the ground. So how are these workers allowed to even work on the ground in the first place? There's two different types of kishkusha. Chad, sumepili. One is covering up cracks in the ground, which is allowed because in Shemitah you are, contrary to what many people think, Shemitah, you are allowed to do work in the ground that's going to prevent the loss. Preventing the loss is okay. It's only planting anew and making things grow better that's a problem. So if there are cracks in the ground, so in order to prevent damage, so you're allowed to do work in the ground. One is to make them healthy, right? I think that's the way you would touch it. Rashi really says you make holes in the ground. So avruye elani osur, that, and to make holes in the ground or to make them healthier, that's osur. Tumepili shari, to close up holes, that's mutter. Fine. Then we have one more din from Ivu. Amar Ivu, this was what I was saying before I got my internet went crazy. Amar Ivu mishum Rabbi Elazar bar Tzadok. A person should not travel on a Friday more than Gimel Parsois. What I was saying is that not only did I travel Gimel Parsois today, I probably traveled 300 Parsois today. Right? Look covered this Gemara. Now, this is where the Velt there's a lot of confusion with this. Right? But let's do it quickly because the Ulam has to go. We only said that you shouldn't go home. Don't travel more than 3 Parsois when you're going home. But in an ushpiza, you know that you have to bring your own food. So therefore, you're going to have your own food. But at home, you're going to eat all your food. You say, I'll get food at home. The problem is that when you get home, they don't have food for you. Meaning the whole issue with traveling on Friday is because you may not have food for Lakovid Shabbos. Meaning, let's say Chas v'Shalom, a guy just decides to travel on Friday, and he gets stuck on the side of the road. Okay, so he got stuck on the side of the road. That's. I mean, it seems like it was Ma'asim B'chol Yom in the Gemara that people traveled on Shabbos and on Yom Tov even. The problem is that when you travel and you don't have food with you, then it's going to be a bizayon for Shabbos that you don't have food for Shabbos. So when you're traveling home and they don't know you're coming, so then you have to don't go home because we're afraid that you're not going to have any. They're going to come show up. They say we don't have food for you. But if you go into a hotel, since you have your own food, then that's okay.
So in today's day where there's communication much easier, it's not really an issue.
That's exactly, yes, 100%. Nowadays, because of communication and also because of the abundance of food, may ikar adin, it's not usher to travel on Erev Shabbos, which is what everybody does. We travel like crazy on Erev Shabbos. All right? There are and were chashuvim who made sure to be wherever they were for Shabbos before Chatzot. But then there's this other thing that I don't know where it comes from. Leave double time. I'm sure the Ulam heard of this. You got to make sure you leave double time. If it's supposed to take you an hour to get there, you got to leave 2 hours. I heard that from your father. I have no idea where that comes from. I have no idea. It would depend. I would say it would depend where you're going, how much traffic, what are it's all these type of things. And then also when people ask me, they want to take a flight Friday morning. I said, listen, you want to be safe and you want to be halachic? Take some rolls and take some grape juice. Or maybe you have to put into a shampoo bottle like Peretz does with his schnapps on the plane. I don't know how you're getting grape juice on the plane. But a purple shampoo. I mean, schnapps fits the shampoo color. Maybe I'm giving away Peretz's secrets. I don't know. But if you take the wine and challah with you, so then what's the bizayon? You have, like our Gemara said, you have your food with you, so then you could do it me'ikar adin. Whether you get stuck in a hotel in some foreign city, that's your own prerogative. That's what you want to do Shabbos. That's fine as long as you have what to be mechaber Shabbos with. Even to his own house, right? And kol shekain, to meaning not only can you not walk home, but even to a hotel, you can't go. I had this story. When I got to where I was Friday afternoon, they didn't even have kasad harsana. That was like this fried fish with I don't know what it was like. It seems like it was the cholent of back then, which was a cheap food. He said they didn't even have any that for that, so they didn't know I was coming. So that's really the whole sugya. That's the main reason not to travel, because they're not going to have. So now, like you said though, with the phones and all that this halacha really doesn't apply. That doesn't mean that you should be stuck on the road on Shabbos. Is not still a bizayon of Shabbos, but as long as you have food, me'ikar adin, you're really okay. Okay, fine. A good Shabbos. What time?
What's that Shabbos?
GW on the way to Passaic happens.
What time tomorrow night?